Hello YouTube, Totalhenry here, and I'm back with a very exciting video. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be showing you guys my top 10 manga of all time. Now before I get into the list, I do want to say, number one, this is a video that is my opinion. It is purely opinion based on what I think and what I like to read, so this list is not wrong. This list is mine, so it's fine if you have different opinions. You can leave them in the comment section below, but just no hate. And if you don't like some of the series I'm mentioning, or if I don't like some of the series that you love, don't shoot me. It's an opinion. Now, the next thing I want to get out of the way is there are a few series that I'm about to name that did not make it onto this list because I've never read them and I know they are really well liked, and I just want to get this out of the way and saying I've never read these series, so I'm sorry I've never read them, but that's why they're not on the list. Berserk, I haven't read. 20th Century Boys, I've only read the first chapter, so I can't judge based on that. JoJo's, I have not read enough. I've only read the first volume that Viz put out a little while ago. GTO, Vagabond, Vinland Saga, and Akira, I have not read, or maybe it's pronounced Akira. I have not read those series. I know a lot of people like those. Those are rated really highly on websites like My Anime List, but those aren't going to be on the list because I haven't read them. Next thing I want to say is I'm basing my list on the entire series, and it's going to be based on the art, the story, and any personal feelings that I have a little outside the manga, like whether it changed my life and influenced. And unfortunately, also, if the manga's still going, that also impacted my decision, even though I tried to look at the whole grand scheme of things. So now, first up is I have 5 honorable mentions, so you're basically going to get 15 series here. Now, starting at, I guess, number 15 is Bleach. Bleach by Tite Kubo. And now, I really loved Bleach up until the Aizen saga ended. Once the Fullbring arc started, Bleach just went downhill, and it went downhill fast. So I can't put it any higher on my list. If Bleach had ended right after Ichigo beat Aizen and Ichigo still had lost his powers, this would definitely be in my top 10 because it's a really good series. But lately now, it's so boring, and reading the chapters every week, it's the thing I look forward to the least to read, just because it's not good. The arts didn't wasn't isn't that great. I mean, later on it gets really good, but in the first few volumes it's not that good. So Bleach is number 15. Then that next up at number 14, honorable mentions, is All You Need Is Kill. This is a manga, original story by that guy. I don't want to butcher his name, and then art by Takashi Obata. I love this series. It's almost like a guilty pleasure how much I love this. The art in here is just fantastic, and it's so much better than that Tom Cruise movie that came out. The manga just by itself is really good. I have not read the original novel, maybe I will, but I just love this series a lot, and I would like to put it higher, but there are just so many better series. But I felt this needed to be on the list just because of how good the story is, how good the art is, and so yep. Next series is Yomu XI Pedal by Watara Wanabe. That's his name. So Yomu XI Pedal, I really wanted to have this in my top 10, but there are just so many better series, and this is just a very feel-good series. There's not a lot of depth to the story, but I don't know, I love it. Even despite the fact that the art is really bad, it does get a little bit better. This is such a great series, and I become an actual cyclist now. I have a bike, I have the jersey, I have the shoes, I have everything. So I owe a lot to this manga, and I'm so happy it's getting an English release. I just love it, and I can't wait to be able to, in the future, read the new chapters, because it's still going on, still going strong. The anime was good, but overall, it's just sort of a feel-good manga. It's simple, and it just excites me more than some of the other series, but it's a great sports manga, so I had to have it on the list. Now, at number 12 in the honorable mentions is going to be Monster by Naruki Uesawa. Now, a lot of you might be surprised that this is so low, And I do like this series, but after the first few volumes, not that it got slow, I just thought that this is much longer than it needed to be. And I didn't like the ending as much. The first few volumes are incredible. The first volume is one of the best in manga. Don't get me wrong, this is a great series. Lots of twists and turns. I do like the art. The art has this very unique style. Not my favorite artist, but look, he is a great manga artist, and I do want to read Pluto and 20th Century Boys and anything else that he's written. And I will collect Monster, but it just didn't do it for me as much as maybe some of you guys think. Maybe I have to read it again to appreciate it more, and I would like to make more of these top 10 manga videos, so maybe if I read it again it will be higher up on my list, but right now it's basically my 12th favorite manga. Then next at 11, just missing out on making the top 10, is Eyeshield 21, written by Richiro Inagi and art by Yusuke Murata. Yusuke Murata, he is one of my favorite artists, probably top 3. I mean, early on his art is not that good, but later on it just becomes incredible. Just grabbed volume 37 right here later on just to show you his art evolves a lot, and if you can look in One Punch Man, his current series, the art is so much better. But Eyeshield 21, just a fantastic sports manga. I love the characters, I love the action, I love the humor. This series really has everything except for like a super engaging story. The story is very simple, just classic sports manga. They don't really lose, which is kind of annoying. They only lose once, and in reality they should be losing more than that. Other than that, it's just such a fun read, and as I said before, the characters are great. Some of my favorite characters are in this manga, like my favorite manga rivalry is in here. The art later on just gets really good. So overall, Eyeshield 21, number 11. Now, next, starting my top 10 here, all 10 of these series are so close together that it's really hard to differentiate them, but after a long time, I think I got it down. Now, at number 10 is the only volume that I don't physically own, is To Love Ru. There will be an image somewhere on the screen. Written by Sakaki Hasumi and illustrated by Kentaro Yabuka. This is illustrated by the same guy that did Black Cat. This is the series he did right after Black Cat. Now, I really love To Love Ru. I'm pulling out my Bakuman volume just to show that a character, Fukida, right here in the bottom right there, and To Love Ru is a real man's shonen manga, and I just wanted to bring that up because To Love Ru is a man's manga. It's a great manga. It's not just about the fan service. It's so much more than that. There's great characters. It's funny. I'm just talking about To Love Ru. Darkness is a completely different animal, but To Love Ru I loved, and I just wanted to have it on my list because it's such a different manga than anything else on this list. The characters are funny, they're cute, they're engaging, and as my friend and I were reading this series, we both got to the point where we would tell each other, like, I don't care about the nudity anymore. I'm interested in the story. I like Rito, I like Lala, Nana, Momo, all these characters, and it's just such a funny story, and I hope it gets an English release. If not, maybe I'll just buy the Japanese volumes because there's such a funny series, such a good series, so I had to put To Love Ru on this list. Now, at number 8 is Hajime no Ippo by George Morica, that's his name right there. Hajime no Ippo, this boxing manga has been around since 1990, over 25 years, it's still going. The reason it's so low on my list is because lately it hasn't been as good as it once was. It's kind of dragging on now, but the first part, and by first part I mean like the first maybe even 60 volumes, even up to 70, were just so incredible. And maybe it's partly because I was able to marathon this all during like one summer, but I love this manga. This manga, just like with Yomu XI Pedal, got me interested in the sport. I've been watching boxing. I've been watching all the big fights for the past few years just because of this manga. I love the art in here. Well, not love, but the art is solid. The art is good. It's a different style than what I usually see. And the characters are funny. The characters are cool. They're just great characters. What I'm trying to say. Ippo, Takamaru, Kimura, Aiko, the main four guys, and there are other characters. The coach, I forget his name, Sendo, and all the other boxers that just come along. And I love that it's just about Ippo's life, and they take it so slowly. I love the scenes of the training and everything. There are some things I wish would change, like lately the chapters haven't been that good, and I just wish it would just go on. And I love this manga. I'm still reading it. I hope more chapters come out. I do want to collect all the volumes. It's a huge task, but I love this series. Hajime no Ippo. If you like sports manga, if you like boxing, check this out. This is such a good series. The anime is good. It's good too, and I love boxing now because of this series. Okay, the next series, number 8 on the list, is Hikaru no Go by Takashi Obata and story by Yumi Hota, and then supervised by Yukari Umezawa. Hikaru no Go, I love Hikaru no Go. This series, probably out of all the series on the list, has affected me the most. I love playing Go. I was playing it earlier with a friend. Go is a great game, and this is a great manga that really does the story justice. And the art in Hikaru no Go is really, really good. Starting off, it's not that great. The art is actually pretty cartoony, but just as it goes on, the art just gets fantastic. The last volume of Hikaru no Go right here, the art in this is just fantastic. It's just incredible. Just classic Takashi Obata style, what he would become known for in Death Note. Takashi Obata, he's probably my second favorite artist out of in all of manga. Murata's probably third. And so Hikaru no Go, back to Hikaru no Go. I just love this manga. There's such a nostalgia factor, sentimental reasons. But the story is good. It's not as good as some of the others on this list, which is why it's not higher. The characters are awesome. It's a very different manga from what you would usually see. Even for something like To Lavoro, there's no other manga like Hikaru no Go in existence. And it's just such a great story, and Hikaru grows so much in this manga, and I love the ending so much in this series. Hikaru no Go is just fantastic. I loved reading it, and this is a series that could probably have gone on forever, just sort of continuing the adventures of Hikaru, but it's good that it ended, and it ended in a great way, that it feels satisfying, but at the same time, you know the world's going to continue. He's still going to be playing games. And the games in here, the actual games of Go, are actually real professional games. You can look at them, you can study them. They're not just like games thought about out of nowhere. They're actually deep, complex games. So I love Hikaru no Go. I can't stop talking about it. And reading the series, it's a lot of fun. It's a great, great read. Now, at number 7, another Takashi Obata work, Bakuman. I reread through this recently. There's the creators. Bakuman, story of characters that try to create a manga in a manga. And I do like the art here, very different from his usual style. This is such a good series. I've been saying that for all these series. The characters are what really set this manga apart. I mean, the story is good, it's decent, but the story is nothing super great. It's the characters in here that make this manga just so fantastic. There are so many different characters, and they all have so many different personalities, and there are so many different manga within this manga, and you just want to read the mangas in here, like Crow, Detective Trap, PCP, the one Fukuda makes about the motorcycles, Reverse. You want to read all of those. You wish they were real manga, and the anime is good too. The art is good. The characters are good. This does have a lot of text, which is part of the reason it's kind of low in this list, just because it does take time to read through. But I love Bakuman. It motivates me to keep drawing, to try to create a manga. There are lots of good tips in it. You learn more about the manga world, just about things that it's hard to find on the internet. You can find in Bakuman about the surveys, just about like how gag manga sometimes turn to battle manga, and all these different little things, and how the editor system works. You learn through Bakuman, and I love this manga a lot, so I had to put it on my list. Now, next up, number 6, and I put this up on the list very late, and I wish it could be higher, but it's Fist of the North Star. And here's the English full color. Story by Brunson and art by Haruna Tetsuo. I'm going to say it right now. This guy, this artist right here, Haru Tetsuo, here he is. He is my favorite manga artist of all time. I have not seen anyone who can draw better than him. This art is just incredible. I love the black and white art. It's just so many lines, the characters' expressions, everything. I mean, look at this picture of Ken. This is just fantastic. So the art in here is like reason alone to put it into my top 10. But the story is also good. I have not finished this. I've only read, I think, like 49 chapters, which is basically in these volumes, which are like 2-in-1 volumes, which is only like 2.5 volumes. And I have the whole 15 volume set, so I need to finish this. And when I finish this, this could easily be my #1 series ever. It's just so good, but I don't know how it ends yet, so I can't put it up that high. But as I said, I love the art. As the story is not like Death Note level, it's not huge plot, but it's just so engaging, so entertaining. And one of the greatest part about this manga is you don't know which characters are going to live and which characters are going to die. You always think, oh, the heroes, he's going to come in and save them. Ken, he's this guy right here, he's going to come and save the poor child. Most of the time, he doesn't. It's so good, it's so bloody, and this is what like a battle manga should be. And I love this character. He doesn't give a damn about saving people. Naruto and Luffy, they always want to save everybody and beat the bad guy. He's like, I don't care if the kids die. I was hired to kill you. And it's just so intense. And as I'm reading this manga, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, all the artists nowadays that draw battle manga, even Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball Z, I bet a lot of his inspiration came from this series right here. Because Ken, some of the scenes, he was like the very first Super Saiyan character. His hair doesn't change colors, but it's incredible. I can't stop praising this series enough. I mean, I don't know, maybe the story does get better. I have not read enough, and when I finish it, I will have a review up for you guys. But I just love this manga so much, and just read it if you can. You can find it online. It's not available in English, sadly, but Fist of the North Star, number 6 on my list. I wish I could put it up higher, but I don't know anything beyond 3 volumes. So, Fist of the North Star at number 6. Now, number 5, midway through, Naruto by Masashi Kishimoto. I have to put Naruto on my list. This was the first manga I ever read, first manga volume I ever owned right here. So I'm a little bit biased towards Naruto, but I do genuinely think this is a great series. And I sort of put it midway just because, I don't know, maybe I could have put it lower. But this series, it started off so fun, so carefree, and then got so plot heavy and so dark. And I tend to like really dark plot heavy stories. And I just love this series, particularly Naruto Uzumaki. He's probably one of my favorite main characters of all manga. I just like his attitude. I love the main characters with like the never give up attitude. And I think Naruto is the quintessential character in that archetype. I really want to collect all the volumes and then sit down and reread them, just because I love this series so much. The art is good. The art isn't bad. It's decent. It does get better as it goes on. I do like Naruto. I'm at a loss for words here, but I mean, most of you have read Naruto. You know what it is. The story is good. Volume 43, where they reveal what happened with Itachi, that was probably one of the greatest moments I've ever had reading manga. I just like, oh my god, are you kidding me? I like had to go back and look through all the stuff just because it all made sense. It made perfect sense. The ending was good too. It was very satisfying. Naruto Part 3, that was also fantastic. So I just love Naruto. Just such a solid series. Such a good read. Great characters, great action. There's humor in it. The art is solid. So I'm biased towards Naruto first manga, so I felt like I had to include it. But again, I do think it's worthy. I would probably not put it higher on the list than 5, but I'm being generous. Naruto, number 5. Now, at number 4, and most of you have probably been waiting for this series, another Takashi Obata series, and Tsugumi Oba series, Death Note. So you can't tell, I love Takashi Obata's work. Death Note, and I mean, what's there to say? Death Note, out of all the series on this list, this probably has the most dark plot. It's dark. The art is good. And this is almost what like a manga series should aspire to be, in my eyes. Great action, great art, and great story. All the things together. The only thing Death Note is really missing is action, but the series is able to draw you in with its great art, and even though it has a lot of text, people still love it. It's just such an incredible series. I mean, I don't even need to say anything. People are just like, okay, Death Note, go on with the next one. What's number 1? I love it. I want to have this higher on my list, but I feel like there are some series that are slightly better than it. Even though Death Note arguably might have the best story, it certainly does make you think the most about whether what Light is doing is wrong, whether L is wrong, whether any of these characters, because they don't really go, the artist and author, they don't talk about morals like, is this right, is this wrong? They're just they just present it, and it's up to you as the reader to figure out for yourself, is this right, is this wrong? The one thing I will say that I don't like about Death Note is that at the end, the reason Light lost wasn't because he made a mistake. I would have liked it if Nier had found a little mistake that Light had made, and that had allowed Nier to win. Instead, I forget the character's name. It was the other Kira that made the mistake. He thought Light wasn't going to be able to act because he was being watched, and he went ahead and he killed that girl. I didn't know. I wish Light had made the mistake, but such a I guess it's kind of a minor thing. I also love how Light's character changes, and he goes from being this person who genuinely wants to make the world a better place to this lunatic, to this psychotic guy that all he cares about is God and using people and Death Note's probably the darkest story here. I mean, it's like Fist of North Star levels dark with none of the blood. Well, there's blood later. Now, moving on to number 3, and I know you guys have been waiting for this, One Piece by Ichiro Oda. You have to have One Piece on your top 10 manga list just because it is a classic. The art is unique. The art is good. The art is entertaining. Again, this is a very different style. I have never really seen art like this before. And One Piece, much like Hajime no Ippo, it takes it slowly, step by step, showing all the characters' adventures. But unlike Hajime no Ippo, the plot is fantastic. It's not like Death Note level plot. But the story is good, and the action is just fantastic. So that's why One Piece is so high on my list. Maybe in the future, after a few more volumes, maybe some big happens, like the Del Rosa arc is now over. Maybe the next island, something huge will happen. I can push it up even higher. But for right now, One Piece at number 3, such a incredible series. I love the series, trying to collect all the volumes, reading through the series. You read it again and it's still enjoyable. The action scenes are great. Luffy, he's a great character. All the characters are great, and one thing that's unique about this series that I absolutely love is each character is a flashback. Each character makes you care, or the author makes you care so much about these characters by giving Luffy a flashback, Zolo a flashback, Name a flashback, Sanji and Chopper. And you cry and you're like, okay, I love this character. And there's no character that's just there. Chopper's flashback and Sanji's flashback are probably two of my favorites. Chopper's flashback gets me every single time. It is so sad. So One Piece, just like I guess the feels, and there's also the epic moments where Luffy punches the celestial dragon, and where Luffy, when Bo Hancock, she's like, I can either turn you to stone or set them free. And he's like, okay, fine, set them free. You can punish me, you can turn me to stone. Luffy cares about everybody. So many great moments. It would take like hours to talk about all the great moments in One Piece. So at number 3, One Piece. Now a lot of you are asking, what could possibly beat One Piece? And here's my answer: Fullmetal Alchemist by Hiruma. I don't want to pronounce that name. I'm gonna butcher her name. Now, again, this is in my eyes. This is my opinion, and also at the top of the list, like the last 4 series with Death Note, One Piece, and Fullmetal Alchemist, and the number 1 series. They're so close together that if I put One Piece ahead of Fullmetal Alchemist, like, I wouldn't complain that much. But as I said earlier, manga in my eyes seems to have good art, good story, and I like good action. Obviously, depending on the story, you might not have action, but this series has everything. The art, it's not as good as some of the other series like Takashi Obata or Murata, or the guy that does Fist of the North Star, but her art is good. I love the art. Now the action in here, the action is just incredible. Some of the fight scenes are great. Alchemy is really, really cool. And Edward Elric, he is probably one of the best characters in all of manga. I've heard people say he's the most badass character in all of manga. Or Roy Mustang. Roy Mustang is so cool. One of my favorite scenes in all manga, and certainly in Fullmetal Alchemist, is where Roy Mustang sears his wound shut with his flame alchemy and then goes and kills Lust. And it's just like, that is so badass, to burn yourself, stop the bleeding, and be able to do that. Such a great moment in this series. Fullmetal Alchemist, and the story, oh my god, the plot. I've read this series like probably 2 times or 2 or 3 times, and you notice different things, you pick up on different things. The plot, it's so incredible. I would even say it's better than the plot of Death Note. There's so many more twists and falls and things that the main characters in here have to overcome, which is another thing I love about this manga. In every manga, like, it seems the main character gets depressed, and then within a chapter or an episode, or if it's an anime, they're back out of their funk. Here, they fail time and time again. They make a huge mistake where they, in Volume 2, they allow that guy to turn his little daughter into a chimera. It still haunts them all the way in the last volume, Volume 27. And the ending where Ed lost his powers was kind of sad. I feel that's why I think Ichigo should have lost his powers. It would have made the ending so much more, had impact, because that was his last transmutation, and he did it to bring his brother back, and the series came full circle. See what I did there? Alchemy circles. I love this series so much, and it's funny too. I don't know if I mentioned that. Ed, he's also a very, very funny character. So, Fullmetal Alchemist at number 2. Now, my number 1 series, and finally, my number 1 series, and I'm choosing this as my number 1 series despite sounding like Mashiro from Bakuman. I'm going to say it's Tomorrow's Joe, or Ashita no Joe. And here are the authors, written by Ikiri Kajua and illustrated by Tetsuya Chiba. Sorry if I mispronounced their names. Ashita no Joe when I read this, I was already a super boxing fan. I thought boxing was really, really cool. That's what Hajime no Ippo does. It makes you think boxing is cool. But this just drags you back down to earth and tells you boxing is a brutal sport. You can die from it. You can get hurt. Not everyone is able to pull off dramatic comebacks like Ippo and win the fight. This series is incredible. Now, as for the art is very cartoony, and it's probably the weakest point of this series, in my opinion. Even though it's very cartoony, though, it does have a charm to it. So, the art, you get used to the art. I love this series. As I said, I'm a huge boxing fan. The fights are fantastic, and it makes you look deeper into the sport, and it really focuses on Joe's training, and it's not just like trying to win fights. He's trying to find himself. He's trying to become a better person. And the same thing for Hajime no Ippo, but I feel like this does a better job. And Hajime no Ippo clearly owes success to this manga, because any boxing manga that's written now, you have to look back and say, okay, tomorrow's Joe, they were influenced by that, just like people say nowadays any battle manga is influenced by Dragon Ball Z. This started it all. So many people say it's a great manga. This character right here, Rikisho, something. When he died in the manga, there was an actual funeral procession in Tokyo for a fictional character. That's how much people in Japan care about this manga. Joe, right back here, he's still seen as a cultural icon. So there's so much significance to this manga. The characters are good. And the ending, part of the reason I chose this, well, before I talk about the ending, when I was talking about Fullmetal Alchemist, I said the main character goes through struggles. In here, the struggles last for volumes, and arguably, Joe's struggles after he kills his best friend and rival Rikusho in like volume 8 for the rest of the 20 volume series, arguably he is never the same, and there are so many volumes where he is lost and you're wondering when's he going to get back on track, and you keep thinking, oh, it's going to be immediate. It's not. It's a slow gradual change. So that's something that's unique and sets this manga apart. Now, the ending. One reason I had to put this manga on the list is because this is probably the greatest ending I've ever read in manga. So I have the book here, and if you don't want to see it, I feel like a lot of people know, but you can just leave right now. This right here, the famous image where Joe burns in white ash. You might have heard this quoted in Bakuman. And I'd like to think that he died right there with a smile on his face. And here the art is just so good. And looking at this, the way it just ends right there, no other words. It just makes you sit there in silence and think about it. Even like the ending of Death Note after Light dies, there's another chapter where they're talking about it a year later. Or Fullmetal Alchemist, there's another chapter. In Naruto, everything's happy. This just ends. This just ends right there. And you sit there and you're like, is he dead? Like, is he... Well, what's wrong? It can't be over. But it is. And this manga is like short and sweet. It's to the point. It's incredible. The action, the fights in this manga are just incredible. Let's see if I can find... And like the art, there's the impact. You feel the punches that Joe is taking, and you just admire him. He's such a courageous character. One of the best characters in all of manga. So, that rounds out my list. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to say it. Right now, Ashita no Joe, Tomorrow's Joe, this is the greatest manga I've ever read. And I look at it again, I want to read it again. I hope this gets an English release so people can read this series, but this is just an incredible series. And that does it for a very long video of my top 10 manga of all time. It was more like a top 15 list just because I really wanted to show you my honorable mentions. Now, please subscribe for more art videos, more Pokemon videos, more reviews, everything. I'm thinking of having some more top 10 manga, maybe top 10 sports manga or battle manga. But But anyway, tell me in the comment section below what your top 10 favorite manga are and what you think of my list. And thank you guys for watching.